thank you so much for joining me for Pilates Sculpt. My name is Audra, and today we're going to be using weights and a ball. If you're at home and you don't have weights, you are welcome to use canned goods, gallon water jugs, wine bottles, or just squeeze your own beautiful muscles. If you don't have a ball, that's okay too. You can grab a pillow and fold it a couple of times. It's just to help you get mostly a little bit of upper back extension. We'll probably put it between our knees and squeeze it. Sculpt classes are where we fuse a lot of the concepts of Pilates and integrate it with like multi-joint, multi-planar full body movement. Don't do anything that doesn't feel right for you and your body. Take breaks as needed. Feel free to modify as needed. And we're going to get started standing. So just kind of check in with your body to start, like see where your weight is on your feet, right? If it's all the way forward, if it's all the way back, or if it's nice and centralized. And then think about your knees, right? Are they bent? Are they hyperextended? Or are they just right above your ankle joint? And then kind of check in with the hips, right? Are they flexed? Are they extended? Or are they in neutral? And then our rib cage, same thing, right? And then our shoulders, are they protracted, retracted, or just set? And just kind of see where your ears and chin are, right? Static posture is dynamic, it's not static, but having kind of a baseline of where we like to go is kind of a good idea, right? We're just gonna nod our chin, hollow out through the front of our body, rolling down as if we're peeling a sticker off the wall, and just hang out down here for a second. See what your body says, right? And shift your weight back and forward a couple times. Weight in the heels, weight in the toes, and then find center. Take your hands up and over to one side and just see how that changes any potential stretch. And then up and over to the other side. See if it feels different or the same. Yeah. And back and forth a couple times. Yeah. And back. Coming back to center. We're going to soften our knees, scoop and roll up. So stacking up bone by bone with our ears being the last thing. And just notice where you ended up, right? Now, place one hand on your back and one hand on your low abs. On your exhale, I want you to kind of imagine that I've got a rubber band and I'm threatening to like flick you in the low abs with the rubber band. You're just going to draw away, like make your low abs tense and then relax. And then exhale, tense. And the hand behind us is there to let us know if we're rounding or not, right? It's just to give us a little bit of feedback. Two more, exhale. And on your inhale, it's okay to expand. We need to be able to expand fully. Last one, hold. Now keep that engagement as you inhale and try to breathe into your back a little bit. You won't be able to keep the engagement 100%, just like 10% of it. And then exhale, deepen the engagement from the front. Inhale, try to keep at least some of the engagement and breathe into your back. And exhale from the front again. If you're like, what is she talking about? I can't do that. That's okay, it's hard. Because a lot of times when we breathe, we tend to like lift our rib cage. We tend to kind of spill our hips forward. So we're just trying to find a little abdominal engagement in a neutral spine. Good. Now exhale, hold that engagement, and we roll down again. Now seeing if you can feel a little bit of those abs trying to help you. And we're coming all the way down to the ground. So we're coming down onto all fours. If you need to be on your forearms, that's fine. Now, just let yourself come into like cat-cow a little bit. Just gonna move a couple times, see where your spine is today, and then find neutral, right? So everybody's neutral looks a little different, but we're not letting anything kind of dive or hang out. Now on your exhale, find that abdominal engagement again without changing the shape of your spine. Good. One more. Hold that, and keeping your upper body right where it is, just tuck your tailbone a little bit, lift your hip bone slightly, tiny posterior tilt, and then slide one foot out. Exhale, slide the other foot out. slide one knee in, slide the other knee in. So yes, we are going through a plank, but we're starting slow, just loading our body a little bit. So slide one foot, other foot, and then down. Good. One more. Now, if these felt good and pretty easy, great, you can advance it. If this is where you are, stay here, right? And if you need to step it down one, that's fine too. You can just slide one foot out, slide the knee back in, and then slide the other foot out. So option one is switching your legs through quadruped. Option two, switching your legs through plank. Option three, holding plank and doing front support, where you bend one knee in, reach it back. Trying not to let your hips or pelvis rotate. Good. If you're like, man, my wrists, put a little bit more pressure through your pointer finger mount. Couple more. Anybody starting to warm up yet, or just me? Last one, each side. Knees down. Press yourselves into a rest position. Rolling out your wrists. Take your hands up and over. Push your hips away. Letting your body side bend. And then other side. Okay. Now come back to center. If you are like, okay, my wrists are getting tired, you can always be on your forearms. You can always hold on to your weights. Now, bring one knee forward, rotate it towards your opposite shoulder or elbow, and then back. Bring it forward, rotate, and back. Yep. Yeah, so one leg and then the other. Pushing into your hands, seeing if you can engage your abs here, especially on that rotation. Now, once again, if you're like, this is where I am, great, stay there. If you would like a little extra challenge, come into your plank, bend the knee, rotate it, hold, and then back. Bend the knee, rotate it, hold. If you're in between, you can do a knee plank. So knee plank, just bring it to the opposite and back, opposite, yeah, and back. Good, yeah, doing great, you guys. Couple more. I'm gonna use my weights for a moment for my wrists. And back. Two more. Last set. And knees down. Press yourself into your rest position. Good. Nice. Now, bringing your arms forward, being in your kind of child's pose, we're not going to let our hips dive forward. You're going to lift your ribs, tuck your tailbone, come into a knee plank. This is not a knee plank, right? That's like an up dog. So I need you to tuck your tailbone. Think about pushing the floor away. Good. That belly button up just a tiny bit more. Yeah. And then nod your chin, press yourself back into your rest position. And let's try that again. We're going to articulate into that knee plank. And then back. Good. Couple more. And back. Now, if this is where you are, stick with this. It's great, right? We're getting a little bit of plank. We're getting a little movement through our spine. If you are ready to advance it, tuck your toes under, curl, come into a regular plank. Then nod, hollow, come into a knees hovered position. But still maintain that articulation, right? Two more. Last one. Nice, and hold, whatever version you're doing, just hold. If you're on your knees, if you're on your feet, that's great. We're going to rotate our hips and back. Rotate your hips. If you're on your knees, one of your knees will have to lift. That's okay. If you're on your fists, or your weights, it's fine. So just a little rotation, making sure that if you're on your feet, you're maintaining contact. So you can also, if you need to, you can also do this on your forearms, right? So anybody who needs to come onto forearms, that's fine too. If you're on your knees, sometimes it's easier to lift your feet up. Last set. And then press yourself into your rest position. We're going to do some side planks. Don't let them intimidate you. I like side planks on my forearms. Deborah, lift your hips a little bit more on the way back up. Didn't think I could see you, did you? All right, so with their side plank, you can absolutely do a side plank on your hip. In fact, let's all find this on our hip. Nancy, of course you can be on your hand. So if for any reason forearm doesn't work for you, come on to your hand, it's fine. Now, just kind of sink into slumber party shoulder, like what's up? Who do you think is cute? What do you like to wear? You know. Now we're gonna push our elbow into the ground, lift our ribs, and almost think of hugging your elbow or hand towards you. So now you've got lat and oblique, yeah? Great. Now, if you're here, stay here. If you would like to advance it, push your knees into the ground. Keep pushing your knees into the ground, keep pushing that elbow into the ground, lift your hips. Yeah. Almost like you're trying to make a rainbow shape. Yeah. And if this is too easy, great, extend a leg. And if that's too easy, great, extend another leg. And now we're going to lift up even higher, come back to center. Lift up even higher, come back to center. Now, if you're dropping down, you might need to put a knee down. That's okay, right? Good. If you're on your hip, great, you'll sink your ribs down, you'll lift up a little more. Same thing. Good, 2 more. Last one, hold. Now, whichever version you're doing, rotate to your full plank, then we go back to the side plank. Now, everybody come onto your hip if you're not. Other side. Come onto your hip if you're not. Nancy, hip. Yeah, no, lift your ribs, push your elbow into the ground, right? So now you've got this like elevated shoulder position. If you're like, man, I feel my neck, think about lifting up more, like you've got a string pulling you to the sky. Yeah, and then you can push your knees into the ground. Maybe your hips lift, maybe they don't, right? Yeah. And then if you're like, cool, too easy, extend a leg. Keep lifting your hips as much as possible, pushing down into that extended foot. And then if you're like, yeah, I'd love more, push down into your other extended foot, right? So it's glute and inner thigh, as well as obliques, lats. Now you can lift a little higher, and then back to center, and a little higher. Once again, if you're here, or here, or here, or here, it's all great. It's all the same stuff, right? Give me 3 more. 2, last one, come through your plank, boom, and just hold for a second. For 5, 4, 3, 2, knees down, press yourselves into your rest position. Yeah. Hands up and over to one side. And then other side. All right, how are you guys doing? Good? Great, because we're coming to standing. Walk your hands toward your feet or your feet toward your hands and just dangle over your legs for a second. And if your weights are in your way, kind of move them to the side. And we're going to roll all the way up. Now, a lot of times, our body tries to help us out by doing things like externally rotating through our feet. So we're going to try to keep our toes center. I want you to envision pushing your feet and bring your feet a little closer together. It'll just make it easier. So if your feet are pretty wide, that's not a bad thing normally, but for this, closer together will be easier. Push your feet down and imagine dragging them together so your inner thighs connect, yeah? And then imagine rotating your thigh bones outward so now your glutes are active, yes? Push one foot into the floor, float your other foot. Now, for those of you on a squishy mat, the mat is great for supporting your spine and being really nice when we do ab work. It's a lot harder for balance work. So if you're like, oh my gosh, come onto the floor. Now, if you're like, this is real easy, fantastic, close one or both eyes. But your first line of defense, if you need to open, like if you need to get out of it, is opening an eye. Yeah, and we're just seeing where our balance is. Yeah, you all look awesome. And then other side. Now, inner thigh first, glute second, push into the floor, then we get to lift. Now you might notice one side is different than the other, right? This is my exciting side. And so all that means is this is the side that needs a little bit more attention, a little bit more thoughtfulness, right? Good, still pushing the floor away, trying not to let your body compensate to get you up. Good save, Suze. Good, yeah. I would say just back up so you don't have to, a little bit more. There, yeah, yeah, good. And if you want to close an eye, great. If not, great. Yeah. And then come back to center. Nice work. We're gonna bring our feet together or close together in line with your sits bones and bend your knees a little. All right, so ribs drawing down, but without rounding your back. Slide your sits bones back. We are hip hinging. Keep your knees bent. Yeah. Now, push your feet into the floor, right? Use that as a prop. As you push your feet into the floor, do you feel how your glutes and hamstrings kick on a little bit more? Good. Now, keep that going. As you keep your knees slightly bent, come up. Yeah. So we're trying to come into a little bit of hip extension before knee extension. And then again. So we're starting with bilateral movement, right? So both sides are doing their job, or both sides are able to do their job. Try not to arch on the way up. Keep your ribs just a little bit more in on the way up. Yeah, good. And then slide your sits bones back. So stick your butt out a little bit more. Yeah, does that feel better? Good. And then up. If you've ever done like deadlifts, it's a similar kind of movement to a deadlift, right? We're having to slide our tail feathers back a little, but we're using the floor to increase muscle recruitment, right? So trying not to bring our chest up at the end. So it's one piece, it's like our plank. Hey, Deborah, don't let your head drop down for me. Yeah, good. Now, tap one toe by your side. Yeah, so exact same thing, just one toe is tapped, okay? And we hip hinge again. Widen through your sits bones. We're not rounding, we're sticking our butt out. I know it's not very polite to do anywhere else, right? So we are sticking our tail feathers back, push into the floor, lift. Good. Yeah, keeping that knee bent if you can. Good. And then just notice what your foot is doing. If your foot's instinct is to try to externally rotate, see if you can keep it forward without like pressure on the knee, right? How are these feeling? Great. Good. If you're like, this is easy, float your foot up. And hopefully you feel your glute eccentrically lengthening and stabilizing you on the way down. You push into the floor. So your soleus, your hamstring, your glute, your whole posterior chain helps you on the way up. Anybody not feeling their like leg a little bit? That stabilizing side? Yeah, yeah. Now, let's talk about balance, you guys. If you need to, even one finger touching something can tell your nervous system you're safe. You can kind of employ that same idea by pressing your hands together, right? Because that's that's closing your chain, that's increasing like muscle recruitment and a little bit of proprioception, yeah? 2 more. Even just letting that toe graze the ground, hold this last one. Now, if you're like, man, my back, send your hips down more. Yeah. Now, slide the foot out, slide it in. That's it. So now we're just stabilizing on this side, yeah. Yeah, good. And if you don't straighten your stabilizer leg, your glute's gonna work more and it'll keep your balance a little bit better. Yeah, good, good. Trying not to round your back. Yeah, good. And same thing applies, right? Even one finger or pressing your hands together. Good, how's everybody feeling? So good? That glute just like, yeah, we got 3 more. 2, last 1. Now, bring it all the way up and take it all the way down. Take it all the way up and all the way down. Now, if you're like, that's not quite working for me, that's okay. Slide the foot in, lift. Come down, slide the foot out. Okay? Boom, no problem. Letting that glute lead the hip extension, right? We're not trying to get our spine to help us. Yes, a mobile spine is great. A stable spine is great. Yeah. Good. 2 more. Yeah, I saw that look, Suze. Yeah. No, don't apologize. Last 1. Good. Now we're gonna hold that balance and then we're gonna pay attention to this leg. Now, just see what that knee is doing when it's bent. Now, most of us, our knee is forward, which could imply that either our quad or our hip flexors are tight. See if you can tuck your tailbone a little and bring your knee in line. All of a sudden, it's way more work, huh? All right, so what we're gonna do instead of keeping the knee bent is tap the toe out to the side. Glance at the foot, bring it slightly behind you, flex your foot. And if you can, we brush it out to the side and in. So if all of a sudden we're leaning, don't go as far. You can always hold on to something. Same stabilizing leg. Yeah, good, good. But also we'll do the other side, so I'm not super picky about it. Good, how's this feeling? Great, yeah. By great, I mean exciting. 3, 2, last 1. Give yourself a figure 4 stretch of some sort. So if this feels better for you or this feels better, does not matter. It's making sure that if you're doing this version, your ankle is either flexed or pointed. That helps protect your knee. Good. Nice job. Everybody ready for that other one? Yeah. Whew. Otherwise, we'll walk around in a circle. Nobody wants that. So, inner thighs, glutes. All right, we're going to come into that hip hinge. And you're going to tap that toe. That's it. Hip hinge. Press into the floor. Don't forget that part. And then find that glute. Come on up. Good. Try to keep your ribs centralized over your hips the whole time. So if you're like, what? Imagine a soup pot with a lid on it. Okay? Your hips are the soup pot, the ribs are the lid. If the ribs lead the charge, oh, steam escapes. Or if we round our back, oh, steam escapes. So imagine you're just trying to drain a little bit of water out of the soup pot and then tipping it back. Right? You drain just a little bit of water out and press. How's this side feeling? More exciting, less exciting? Less? Bend your knee more. Yeah. Squeeze your glutes more forward. Could also just be that it's a fresh, exciting side that hasn't been, worked really hard yet. All right. Couple more. Yeah. Once again, trying to keep your ears in line with your shoulders. If you can, good. 2, beautiful, everybody. Last one like this. And of course, if you want, you can float that foot up. It's a whole new world, right? Yeah, just gives us information. So if as we lift that foot up, all of a sudden our knee goes, wah, or our foot goes, wah, it's just an indicator that something is having to work really hard to stabilize. So see if it might be coming from your foot or your knee or your hip, right? So if it feels like your foot is unstable, think about spreading your toes, planting all 3 corners, and just gently lifting your arch. If you're like, well, it's not the foot, but the knee is still wobbly, think about that hip helping rotate. Right? 2 more. Yeah. You all look amazing. And also, if it's not perfect, do I care now? You guys look awesome, right? Yeah. We're gonna hold it down and extend the leg. And bring it in. Bless you. Now maybe you're like, I like to push that leg through space, but imagine it's like in wet sand. Great. You can also push along the floor. You can also tap. Right? Yeah. And of course, breaks are great, you guys. If you need a break, you take a break. We have just a few more. And just start to notice if you feel this in the same place or a different place than on the other side. Last one. Bring it out, bring it in, bring it up, bring it down, bring it out. Yeah. Now if you're like, yeah, that's the slightly simpler version, great, stick with that if you want. Or you can extend and lift. And just notice if it feels the same or different, right? If it feels different, that's normal, right? Because very rarely are we super symmetrical. Even our lungs aren't symmetrical because one of them has to make space for our heart, right? Good. Couple more. Good. 3. And once again, if you want, you take it down, extend, in, up. You just keep it a little bit more connected to the ground. Yeah. Last one. Good. All right. I know, same. Push that foot into the floor and just kind of see, right? And things to kind of check in with. Is your hip shifting? Are your ribs having to go up and over? Is your hip rotating? If it is, it's just information, right? And then we glance down at that knee and we tuck and we see if it can get a little closer. For me, that's so much hamstring because this is just pulling it forward, right? So we're gonna extend, make sure it's slightly behind us. Try to stand upright as much as you can. Flex. And then we can brush it out to the side, yeah. If you're like, that's great if I can hold on to something, fine, right? Good. Couple more, you guys. Now, if you notice, feel my back or my hips, it could be that your hips are going into an anterior tilt to try to help, right? So see if you can find neutral. Good. Suze, left hip bone slightly forward. Yep, perfect. That's it. Good. Nancy, right hip bone slightly forward. Yep. Yeah. 2. Good. Last 1. Nice job, you guys. Figure 4 stretch. How did that one feel in comparison? Great. Yeah, I know. Same. We can tuck and extend a couple times. Just breathe. And come on up. We're going to have a nice wide stance here. Now, only allow yourself to go into a range that feels good for you, okay? So keep one leg straight. We're just going to bend into the other side. See how it feels, right? So if you're up pretty high, that's okay. We're trying to get a little bit of flexion at the ankle, the knee, and the hip. Push into that foot, other side. You might feel inner thigh stretch depending on how deep you go. Yeah. Now, just notice if as you go down, you immediately go into a hip hinge, right? Or if your knee refuses to go over your toe, right? Okay. We obviously don't want to go into a range where there is pain, but it's okay to let your knee go over your toe. In fact, in life, we need to be able to do that, right? You guys are like, I guess. Yeah. What if you want to go up or down stairs? Walk up a hill, right? We need to be able to access that movement. Good. One more each side. Yeah. Then come back to the center. Now, externally rotating from your upper thigh bone, sweep your heels in slightly. Now, as you do this, if your knees are still coming forward, bring your toes in more. Think about your glutes lining up more. So we're going to sink straight down like an elevator, not an escalator, okay? Your hands can be here or on your thighs. It's up to you. Slide them down, just hold. Now, mine love to internally rotate, so a little bit of like external rotation with them. So Deborah, instead of having your hands here, have them here. Think it, yeah, good. And then you can press up. On the way up, drag your feet in from your inner thighs. Try not to anteriorly tilt. This way. Yeah. And then let the thighs rotate. Good. And then bring them up, drag them together. Good. Now on the way down, we always hear, oh yeah, this is an inner thigh work. Know what's working on the way down? Deep glutes, quads, a little bit of hamstring. It's on the way up, if we imagine dragging our feet together, that our inner thighs actually work. Good. 2 more. Last one. All the way up, toes forward. Yeah, now, we still want to make sure that our knees are traveling over our second and third toe. We're just going to sink it into a regular kind of squat. Now, look at your knees. They should be able to at least be close to your toes unless there's pain, okay? Then push and lift. If you're keeping your knees totally stationary, you can only go so far, right? So everything needs to be able to move at once. Yeah, Deborah, that looked good, but you can still stick your tail feathers back a little bit. Yeah, there you go. Good. Good, Beth. Yeah. Yeah, looking good. Yes, everybody. Couple more. 3, 2. Last one, hold it down. Yeah. Now, bring your hands to your chest. We're just going to rotate to one side. Back to center. Now, instead of leaning, try to keep your spine relatively still. It's like a corkscrew, right? Yeah. And breaks are great. If you need one, take one. Good. We're just seeing kind of what has to kick on a little differently. Yeah. Last one. Come back to center, bring it all the way up. Now, real talk. If this next part is too challenging, you're going to come back to this. Okay? This is going to work a lot of the same muscles. Deal? Good. Go ahead. Slide one foot out. Drag yourself down as if you're going down an elevator. Now, switch feet. Tuck your toes under. Push down into the floor. Lift yourself up. Bring your feet together. Gonna slide it back. Yes. Switch it down. Switch legs here. Yeah. Boom. Tuck. Push up and up. Boom. And then drag it down. Yeah. So this is, and then switch legs. Yeah. This is a version of a lunge, right? It's a little bit more of a split squat in that we aren't totally upright and doing just a bunch of quad. But this is also really important for what? Nancy, don't say gait. Yeah. Getting up and down off the ground, right? Yeah, which doesn't seem like it's that big of a challenge until you try to do it. Now, if you would like, we can add challenge. We have several different ways to do this. One, you can try not to put weight on that back foot, try to keep all your weight on that front foot. You can lift that leg for a second, try to get a little bit of balance work there, and then try to keep all your weight on the front leg. The back leg just being a guide. Yeah. Then you exhale. Yeah. Now, that's one way to make it more challenging. Another way to make it more challenging in a different sort of way is to practice getting up from a different position. So if you were sitting cross-legged, you would bring a foot here, bring your weight up like that. So it'd be on an angle. I mean, you can, but in an ideal world, we're doing it without, right? Yeah, just use your hands when you need to, and then don't use your hands when you don't need to, right? Doing great, yeah. And breaks are great, yeah? Yeah, that looks good. So with this part, if you're like, I can't get forward, use your hands for a second to shift your weight forward, then hold there and then push into the ground to lift you, right? And it just is information, yeah? Yeah. Yeah. I often am like, okay, I gotta use momentum here. It could indicate that maybe your ankle dorsiflexion isn't ideal, right? So if you need to like, or maybe you're trying to be in too tight of a, good catch, yeah, too tight of a cross-legged position. Maybe make it bigger, right? Yeah, you can strategize any way you need to. Last one. Yeah. I mean, in an ideal world, we'll be able to get up and down without using our hands. In the real world, sometimes we need assistance, and that's okay. That's also why we're practicing now. Yeah, good job. You guys grab your weights. Yeah. All right. Now, we're going to start on both feet, but when you're ready, we can always add a little bit of fun balance stuff. All right, so we're going to use biceps to start. And biceps are an elbow flexor. And they're also a supinator. So on the way down, we're going to resist gravity and let them rotate without letting the shoulders rotate. It's elbow only. Boom. Yeah. And then elbow only. Good. And then back. You could also just add the twos if you want. And back. Good. Couple more. 4, 3, 2, 1. If you resist gravity, feel how much more work it is. 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Good. Now, if you want, lift a leg. Yeah. Boom. 4, 3. Don't shove your shoulders down. Thank you. Now, it's really tempting if we're used to hearing shoulders down, to actually try to force them down. We want them to be able to live their best life where they're supposed to, right? So think of them not being down, but just being relaxed. Yeah, good. Last one like this. Good. And then we hold. Now, if this is not appropriate for your shoulders, we have other options. We're going to push one arm overhead. Slowly bring that arm down, push the other arm overhead. Yeah. Now, and then Suze, you have like 1 or 2 more minutes. Okay. Good. Trying to keep those ribs nice and centralized. Yeah. Good. How's that stabilizing leg feeling? So good. Let's do the other side. Starting with those biceps. Yeah. Boom. And then slowly descend. Yeah. Gorgeous. If you need to, tap that toe down, right? Fancy. Just think about your right foot spreading wide. Yeah. Yeah. So it's got nice even pressure from the inner and the outer. Good. 2. Last. 1, like this. Bring it up. Inhale. Exhale. Pushing one arm overhead. Slowly decelerate. Now, one arm at a time is also challenging your core, right? Because if we do both arms, they're moving bilaterally. So one arm at a time is helping challenge that core stability. It's also helping challenge your glutes and inner thighs dynamically, right? Good. Couple more breaths. Doing great, you guys. Last set, last set. Boom. Boom. And then come down. All right, so with this, I want you to bring your elbows to your ribs and then make sure that we're not here. We're gonna keep your shoulders rotated and just set, okay? So when you're here, the shoulder blades are in the same position when you're here. We're not going so far back that the shoulder blades move, okay? So think collarbone wide, like you're taking off a big jacket, all right? So elbows in, set your shoulders. Now keep your shoulders right where they are. Straighten your arms, hold, hold, hold. Everybody starting to feel those triceps a little? Yeah, and then you can bend. Reset the shoulders, good. Boom, hold, yeah, gorgeous. Good, yeah. Beth, think about your elbows coming down a little. Yeah, there you go. Is that a little less upper trap? Elbows down before you straighten. Yeah, good. There. Yeah. Couple more, Nancy. Let your shoulders kind of move a little. Yeah. You're kind of squeezing your armpits. So, yeah, there. Widen through your collarbones. Try this for me. Stay right where you are. Yeah, that's where you're gonna go. Yeah. 2 more. Yeah. Last 1. Hold. Just hold. 5, 4. Anybody not feeling their triceps? Yeah. 3, 2. Deborah, open your collarbones for me. Yeah, good. Last 1. Come on down to the ground. We're going to use our prop. So once again, if you're at home, you can always fold a pillow a couple times. Go ahead and bring the prop behind your thoracic Interlace your hands behind your head and just extend over the ball. Now, nod your chin for me and just curl forward a bit. Yeah. Now, after the first one or two, you might be like, I'm going to move this ball. It's fine. So everybody's proportions are different. Everybody's strength levels are different. Everybody's movement abilities through their spine are different. Good. Yep, good. Try to keep yourself from collapsing and arching over the ball, right? We are extending over the ball, but it's like we're resisting. 2 more. Good. Last one. Hold it up. Good. Now hands come forward and just push into an imaginary surface. That looks good. And actually, I would scoot your hips this far away from the ball if you can. Yeah. Yeah, good. And bring your hands up, interlace them, and hold. Everybody feel how much more work that is? It's great, right? And then we slowly extend. Yeah. And then curl forward. Bring those hands forward. Push them into an imaginary surface, like from your abs. Yeah. And then bring it up. Don't put more weight on the ball yet. Yeah. Hands behind your head, and then slowly extend. So a lot of times as we start bringing our arms up, our spine starts moving, right? Because maybe our abs don't yet have the strength to stabilize them. So only bring them up as far as you can without this happening. And then hands behind your head, slowly lower. 2 more. I know it looks like I'm just talking directly to you. I promise I'm talking to everybody. Yeah, good. Good, last one. Good. Yeah. And then bring your hands behind your head and hold. Yeah. Now just let 1 pound of weight relax onto the ball, and then let 1 pound of weight come off the ball. Yeah. And 1 pound of weight relax onto the ball, 1 pound of weight come off the ball. And you might just have to move the ball up or down to get a slightly more comfortable position. It's fine. Yeah. 2 more. Good. Everybody feel how their abs just engage so much harder as soon as you think of taking a pound of weight off the ball? Yeah. Last one. Now, extend over and slide 1 leg out. Now, as you curl up, that leg is going to slide in, maybe come towards your face, and then slide out. Now, if you're like, the ball is really uncomfortable, get rid of it. It's the same thing. You just won't be able to come up as high, and you won't get the extension. But it's just fine. It's the exact same move. Okay? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 3 more. Good. 2. If that was your favorite song, I'm sorry. It's just not mastered loud enough. Last one. Other side. Extend, extend. How you guys feeling? Great? Feeling those obliques already? Yeah. Whether you are using the ball or not, that's fine. And remember, breaks are great. Sometimes taking a micro break will allow us to re-engage properly, to find that form. We have 3, 3. Good. 2 more sets of 2. One more set of 2, and we get a break from this. And extend and relax. Now go ahead, curl up, hands come forward to help you come all the way up. Take your pop it in between your knees and roll back down. Now, toes are going to be forward, making sure they're not out. Squeeze the prop from those inner thighs. If you only feel like your groin muscles as opposed to the whole inner thigh, stop squeezing. Think about dragging your heels back and then squeezing, and see if you can feel that whole length of the inner thigh. Press your feet into the floor. Lift your hips into your first bridge. Now, check it out. Make sure that your weight's not in your neck, you're not lifting from your armpits, you're not feeling it in your back. Throat is relaxed and open. Weight is on your shoulder blades. Bottom of your glutes are helping you. On the way down, you can roll and relax the tissue of your spine. And then on the way up, let's hinge, push, lift, and roll. Relaxing your back, controlling it with your abs. 2. Last one. And come all the way down. Now take your prop, and we're going to place it in the heel of our hand, trying not to grip our armpits, but have them buoyant. We're trying to find serratus and oblique. So let one leg lift to tabletop, push into the ball with the heel of your hands, press into the ball with your knee. So hopefully just this action, you feel your core kicking on, yeah? Good. And then other side. Now maybe this is where you stay, back and forth. Making sure you're on your exhale, your ribs are drawing towards your belly button. Trying to still maintain a relatively neutral pelvis. Now maybe you're like, cool, I'd like more challenge, please. Bring both legs to tabletop. Press the heel of your hands into both of them. Slowly reach one leg away. Exhale, bring it up. Switching sides. Maybe this is too easy. You can push the foot away from you and then float it in. And then push it into an imaginary wall and float it in. And maybe this is too easy, in which case we're going to rotate, bring one hand behind the head, yep, and then rotate. You can lift up your shoulder blades, coming into crisscross, yeah. Couple more. 2, 2, last one. Come back to center. Hug your knees towards your chest. All right, now, if you've never done roll-ups before, or roll-ups are really challenging for you, you are welcome to use a weight for this first one and bend your knees. So go ahead, curl up if you can. Now, we have so many options for roll-ups. On the way down, we're gonna bring our arms just gently forward, armpits gently hugging down. Curl your tailbone towards your face and just see if you can articulate. Yeah, good. Now on the way up, if you can roll forward, great, yeah. Yeah, so close. Yeah, yeah. First one never counts, yeah. So if you have maybe a sticky spot in your spine, or you're just not used to it, you can put a gardening pad underneath your lower back. You can use a weight, yeah. And if it's still challenging, you can always control it on the way down, find a different way to come up, yeah. Good. Use your breath and it'll be better. So exhale on the way forward. And you can even put that other 5-pound weight in your hand. And I think it might just offload you like just enough. Yeah. Good. Nice job, you guys. Yeah, good. Couple more. For the first year that I did roll-ups, I had to have a gardening pad under my back and weights in my hands, right? And last one. Sometimes it's about strength, sure. Sometimes it's about articulation through different vertebrae. And sometimes it's just about our nervous system, knowing that we can do a thing. Last one. I know I already said that, but now I mean it. Yeah. And bring it up. Good. Go ahead and come on to forearms and knees for a second. Good. And it's okay to be in kind of a really crunched position here. We're gonna get just a little bit of rotation through our thoracic spine. So bring one hand to its shoulder, elbow out, and just rotate your ribs to one side and then back, yeah. And then rotate them down. And maybe you have a lot of rotation through your ribs, and that's fantastic. We're sticking with the same side this time. If you don't have a ton of rotation through your ribs, Nancy, that looks better. So, yeah, sorry, I just got really excited. If you don't have a lot of rotation through your ribs, it's fine. What you're gonna do is you're gonna pause, inhale, and just exhale. See if your shoulder retractors can help just a tiny bit. Last one, yeah. And then other side. Yeah, inhale, exhale. Now you might notice that one side feels easier than the other. That's especially true if you have any sort of scoliosis, whether it's structural or functional. This is my challenging side because of my scoliosis. So instead of just going into it, I'm gonna pause, tell my nervous system it's safe, and then encourage a little bit more rotation. So if we get kind of stuck, it's tempting to try to force our way through it, but a safe nervous system is a happy nervous system. So encourage ease of motion rather than force. Last two. Last one. We're coming all the way to standing. However you need to is fine by me. We're gonna dangle out of our hips for a second. Just nod your head yes, and shake your head no. And then nod your head yes. Did you kick butt today? Yeah, you did. And then shake your head no. Do you have any regrets? Nope. And nod your head yes one more time. Scoop and roll all the way up. Flip your palms to the sky. Open your heart to the sky. Hands to your side. Slide your shoulders to your ears and drop them straight down. One more. Just drop them. Boom. Yeah. Nice. Give yourselves a round of applause. Awesome work today. Thank you so much for joining me. Really, really well done.